What's up, guys? It's John Dominique, the Soul Proponent. Today, I want to talk about the path of least resistance. In my last video, I talked about trusting the unfoldment, and that leads to an experience of non-existence. What I want to talk about today is the path of least resistance. The way to go about experiencing non-existence and spiritual awakening is by the path of least resistance. It's counterintuitive. At first, we're going to have to put in a lot of effort because we're unconsciously resisting the process of spiritual awakening all the time. That's the ego's job. That's the identity. Just the presence of the identity just by itself is the resistance. And as we travel the path, we can notice just how entrenched we are in the ways of this identity, its ways of denial, its ways of blotting out the experience of non-existence from its mind. Denial, repression, resistance, and the likes. If we pay attention, we can see that we don't know how to stop resisting. And it takes effort for us to see every single way that we are resisting. So the first thing is to just be aware that we are resisting the process. And we need to feel the resistance in its entirety. We need to understand it, to seek to understand it in its entirety. Why is there so much resistance? How did this get here? How did it build up? What is causing me to resist? Why am I resisting? How am I resisting? Every single way, up and down, backwards and forwards, inside and out. This needs to be an ongoing, continuous process. Now, it takes effort to do this at the beginning because we don't want to do it, basically. We're resisting it. When I'm talking about the path of least resistance, at first, we put in the effort. But as we continue on the path, it becomes a little easier to the point where we put in the effort, we put in the work. It becomes like an automatic habit that starts to take over. It becomes the agenda that becomes bigger than the resistance itself, than the ego, than the identity. So we're building a part of ourselves, we're developing a part of ourselves that's going to be aware of the resistance. Now, this sometimes will sound like, okay, well, we're putting an effort in to building something other. It just seems like it's a sidestep, basically. It can seem like we're just putting in more resistance to resist the original resistance. But that's not what it is. What we're going to do is just be aware of the resistance. We're going to pay attention not to the content of the resistance, but to the container, to the field of resistance, to what's holding the resistance. We're going to be aware of the spaciousness of the emptiness, and we're going to become the perceiver, not the perceiver of the resistance, but the perception of the resistance itself. It sounds like, from a logical and a reason standpoint, from the mind, from the standpoint of the conventional mind, it seems like nonsense. But I can assure you, if you take the time and make the effort to become aware of the space around the resistance, if you become aware of the awareness, become aware of not the content of the awareness, but the awareness itself, it develops a part of us that is already larger and smarter than the resistance and the resistor. There's a part of us, it's pure being. There's no effort to be aware of this. I'm not going to make any effort. So that's the tricky part about it. We have to, how do I want to say this? We will have to quit resisting the resistance over and over again. So we're going to pay attention to see every single way that we're resisting. And then when we see it, we're going to let go. And this is going to happen over and over again. We're going to go, sometimes we're going to go right back to resisting immediately. Well, become aware of the resistance and then let go. And then let go of the need to let go. Over and over again. It's the practice of non-attachment and then applying the practice of non-attachment towards the practice of non-attachment. It's difficult to do because we've built a lot of layers, a lot of systems, and we're very taken over by the systems that we've built. The need to do something, the need to accomplish something, the need to have some type of ambition, some type of goal to reach in the future. That's kind of what we need to pay attention to, and that's what we need to let go of. So when I say the path of least resistance, it's letting go of the ambitions, letting go of our intentions, letting go of our trying, letting go of our efforts. The path is effortless, really, to be honest with you. But at the beginning, it's not going to be effortless because we're applying unconscious effort to resisting. So we need to pay attention to that unconscious effort and to be aware of it and to just become the watcher of this unconscious effort. The unconscious is very deep. There's a lot of things we're not going to understand. It can be very disturbing. The psyche holds like a lot of humanity's a lot of the categories of our basic vices. And when we see them, we tend to want to judge ourselves. And we need to understand that we're trying to have control, and that's part of the resistance. Wanting to need control, wanting to control the process, wanting to have awakening, wanting to have relief and release from this ego identity. That's part of the resistance. We have to see that and understand it and just continue to become the watcher of all of this, the container that holds all of this, the environment. And that's going to take us to emptiness, more emptiness, more emptiness. It's going to be like what's left. It's what it's going to seem like. It's going to seem like there's no point to living after that. There's no value in life if I don't have these defenses to hang on to or to protect me. Like it seems like I'm going to be attacked. And we need to see those attacks because the ego identity, the judgments will constantly, consistently attacking. Almost every time there's a thought in the head, it's an attack. It's a resistance against our being, the purity of our being. So we need to trust the purity of our being is going to show us what we need to see. And we need to quit the resistance. So basically, the path of least resistance is letting go of our attachment to identity, our attachment to attachment, our need to have needs. So the path of least resistance is counterintuitive, is upside down. It's not the usual way of the ego identity. We need to become aware of as much of non-existence as we possibly can, because that's what it's going to lead to. And don't resist the non-existence. Because usually that emptiness, that blackness, it seems like there's no support, there's nothing there, and nobody wants to face that. But it can become a refuge. It transforms. If we continue on the path, that emptiness becomes an acquired taste. We crave it after a while. It gives us a sense of peace, a sense of calmness. So we're going to develop a part of us that's aware and is watching the resistance. That's what the path of least resistance is about. It's pure being. It's about the container that holds the resistance, becoming aware of that, developing our awareness of the resistor and the content of what it's resisting as well. There's a stillness. There's a silence. There's a deep wisdom in that emptiness. It's there to show us something. It's trying to tell us something, but we have to listen and we have to get really quiet and really still. There's no effort to do this. The path of least resistance takes absolutely no effort. So we can understand that if we are putting in any type of effort at all, that's not the path. We see that we're going against the path, and that's what we need to be aware of and pay attention to until there's no more effort, until there's no more resistance. So in the end, we don't lift a finger on the path. And that's the beauty of it. It's not doing anything. It's pure being. It's stillness. It sounds mysterious. It sounds preposterous, but this is a thing. This is a path. This is the way. The path of least resistance is misunderstood. It's not meant to be some type of lay down and not live my life anymore. We're going to have to leave our families and leave what's the word I want to say? We have to leave behind the desire to be accepted by our families, by our parents, the desire to be popular, the desire to be approved by our peer groups. All of that will have to go. So the path of least resistance is very uncommon. It's counterintuitive, but it is a thing, and it's a practice that we need to continue on the path to the soul. John Dominique, the Soul Proponent.